So we're here to talk to you about reducing health inequalities in mental health and learning disabilities services. Just before we start, it'd be great if everybody could pop their names and roles into the chat box. I hope this isn't the third time that you've been asked to do that in these workbook sessions, and we'll briefly introduce ourselves. So my name is Andrea Gray. I'm the Mental Health Development Lead for Wales and Improvement Cymru, which sits in Public Health Wales. Rachel?
Hi there, my name is Dr. Rachel Jones. I'm the National Learning Disability Programme Lead with Improvement Cymru within Andrea's team.
Michaela?
Hi, I'm Michaela Morris. I'm the Mental Health Programme Lead within Improvement Cymru, Public Health Wales in Andrea's team. My mouth is dry.
I know, it's probably time. We didn't have time for a stretch. I don't know if anybody's had time for a stretch. So, I'm going to launch into this, and we're going to try and keep it brief. So we're going to talk to you for about 8 minutes. So hopefully we have 10 or 12 minutes to have a discussion. So you probably will be aware that people with severe mental health problems and people with learning disability die significantly earlier than the general population. I mean, those numbers, every time I look at them, are always quite shocking. And generally speaking, they are preventable physical illnesses. We know during this pandemic that it's likely that COVID has impacted disproportionately on those groups, and that the health inequalities have, at the very minimum, been maintained, but in most cases have increased its impact. So we're going to just mention very briefly 2 projects, and then Michaela's going to talk to you in detail about another one that we've been doing during this period of time. So one was the creation of a Once for Wales health profile, which is broadly, taking it from the last group, a safety tool, patient safety tool. And it was created by numerous stakeholders across Wales being involved in piloting and researching previous tools, and then developing one that could be used consistently, not only for just people with learning disabilities, but for other groups. And we're moving that into the mental health and dementia space. Rachel will be able to, we'll put a link into the sidebar and be able to talk to you a little bit more about that, if that would be helpful, and we're really happy to share information. The other is we are currently doing a large-scale improvement project in Wales, which is around improving the consistent and purposeful use of service user rated outcome tools in all of the mental health and learning disability teams, with consistent tools being used. And as part of our implementation package, we are including training around cultural competence and cautious bias, really kind of very mindful of, as I say, the health inequalities that COVID has made very stark for us during this time. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the broad framework that we use in Improvement Cymru that describes the kind of our delivery framework when we're looking to introduce change at scale. 3 things at the bottom that kind of really underpin all of the work that we do is there can never be enough engagement right throughout the tiers. But really involving stakeholders, and particularly those with lived experience in the creation of any resources, tools, and the improvement process itself, we consider to be absolutely critical. And then really convincing people that whatever the journey we're going to take, it's going to be one that's worth taking. I'm going to hand over to Michaela now.
Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you about our project called the Care Home Cwtch, and within Wales, cwtch is a word we use for a cuddle, a bear hug, a wrap around. So this is why it was called Care Home Cwtch. Obviously, due to the challenges that came with COVID earlier in the year and still are with us, Improvement Cymru, we set up a COVID dementia partnership group to ensure that all the existing stakeholders that we connect with remained connected. They could share ideas and they could take forward any of the actions that come out of that partnership group. So one of the ideas from the group was how to support care homes. Obviously it was a hot topic due to the challenges that they were facing and they still are facing. So the idea was for a peer support network for care home managers, and we set up a survey to determine the need and the purpose. So this survey provided the evidence that care homes believed a peer support network would be of value in supporting them and achieving better outcomes for the residents and the staff. So with the support of Welsh Government and our key partners, we scoped and created the platform called the Care Home Coach as an 8-session pilot. And obviously the first session we went live mid-May using Zoom. So we had facilitators supporting each session using the GROW model, and each session allowed for large room engagement and then smaller breakout rooms where the actual peer support happened. And this is where the care home managers could share experiences, share their frustrations, share practice, and also create some ideas for change. So based on the session feedback, we created an extra 3 learning and development webinars for them. And this was open to all care home staff. The first one was around wellbeing for you and your team. The second one focused on activities within the home, things like music, dance, skills, daily skills used around the home. And then the third one focused on physical health, taking them through the National Early Warning Score and other key physical health issues. So we built evaluation into the end of each coach session to encourage co-production, and this shaped the focus for the following session. We also introduced change cycles at the midpoint and at the end of the pilot, and these allowed change to happen at pace. So we have a combined evaluation of all the sessions plus the surveys that were completed by all the participants, so all the care home managers, all the facilitators and the support staff all completed a survey. So if we go on to the learning, next slide, Andrea, please. So obviously you can see that we ran these weekly, we've moved to fortnightly, and I'll take you through some of the important areas that we feel there has been great learning from. So obviously the importance of co-production. The care home managers needed to own this space and they needed to own the agenda. So this was vital for the coach to deliver what was the priority for them and not what others assumed they needed to be focused on, which was, I think, really important, especially during this time. So a second learning point was around virtual working, using IT, using the platforms like Zoom. You know, you can't underestimate how difficult and complex that can be, especially when you're not used to it. We underestimated that complexity. And obviously, you know, that was also in agreeing, you know, deciding which platform would be the best platform to run this on. And obviously then learning how to navigate around Zoom. Another challenge were all the multi-agencies that were involved with this project. We pulled together a really integrated way of working, but trying to navigate those organisational agendas due to their different ways of working was really quite complex and challenging. And that was a huge learning curve for us. So an example was around the communication channels. They're different in every organisation. And this was hard. It was hard, especially when we were trying to work and change at pace during that first wave of COVID. So obviously the greatest learning is focus on this, you know, this whole presentation is around engagement, but the greatest learning, I suppose, was consolidating that you can't do improvement unless you build relationships. You have connections, you co-produce, you engage. You don't get improvement if those things don't happen. And I think that's more important at this time as well. So our achievements, what did we achieve? Obviously, we made the connections. The care homes wanted a forum where they could connect with each other, and this was all across Wales. They were all from different areas. And so we achieved that aim, that they felt connected and supported and actually had a forum, they said, where they felt there was a sense of not being alone. And I think during this difficult time, that was really important. Another key achievement was around influencing policy and practice. It wasn't by design, but it fell out of this project that we were able to take the learning, the issues, the raw emotion from these sessions and actually influence policy and practice across Wales. And next slide. Another great achievement is that we have within Improvement Cymru a care home improvement programme. And so we've been able to use all the learning from the pilot and the sessions that we're running, and they're still being run, to influence the care home improvement programme going forward. How do they build in a peer support network to their improvement programme? And this slide demonstrates that they've been able to show how that will happen over time. Thank you.